Learn how to make this absolutely delicious sweet potato casserole. All right, guys, I have this absolutely amazing sweet potato casserole that never fails year after year. It's absolutely a family favorite and friends favorite because everywhere I go, they ask me to bring this. So we're going to start with 7 cups of sweet potato. We're going to boil them in the water, and then we're going to use the following ingredients. We're going to use a cup of milk, a cup of sugar, a teaspoon of vanilla, a teaspoon of salt, and 3 eggs. And you already know that I cleaned the eggs. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Now we're just going to take all those ingredients and we're just going to throw them all in our mixer if you have a mixer. If not, you're going to have to do this by hand, and you're going to have to mash up the sweet potatoes by hand first. But because I have a stand mixer, that actually takes care of all of the mixing for me. And we're also going to take a stick of butter, which will be 8 tablespoons. So just mix it. There's really no order in which you need to go in. You put in your cup of milk, any milk of your choice. You put in your cup of sugar, your 1 teaspoon of salt, your 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and then lastly, you're going to put in your butter. I suggest that you do this when it's freshly out of the pot. Usually what I do to start off the process is that I peel the sweet potatoes, I cut them up into little cubes, and then I measure it out. I measured out about 7 cups for this recipe. Once you do that, you put it in water and you let it heat up until it's absolutely soft. And then once it's hot, you can just put everything inside the stand mixer, and then you will stick your butter in. And the butter, like, you could soften it at first, but the butter kind of melts with the heat of the sweet potato that's already hot, which I let this cool down, and that's why it wasn't as smooth as it usually is. But yes, you start it off, it mixes, and then it'll give you a nice creamy consistency. Once you do that, you're going to let it mix as much as possible. Right here, you can see that because it wasn't warm, the butter wasn't melting in the way I wanted it to. I try to put it in the oven for a little bit, but this is the first time I ever let it out for such a long time, to the point that it cooled down. But I tell you that once you have it nice and warm, nice and hot, the butter will just melt like butter. Get it? Don't mind me and my dad jokes. Okay, so for the topping, guys, this is important. We're going to do 2/3 cup of flour. We're going to do 1 cup of brown sugar, and we're going to do 1 cup of chopped pecans. You're going to take 6 tablespoons of butter, and then you just kind of roughly mix it in. You know, you're going to mix your brown sugar with your flour first, and then you're going to roughly mix in pieces of the butter with the pecans. This way, there's just a good mix of all of it, because once you guys have the mixture inside of a tray or a casserole dish, whatever you want to use, you're going to sprinkle this on as a topping. So you want to make sure that there's even distribution. I just go little by little, and I incorporate it, and I incorporate the butter, and then I start mixing it around. Honestly, I probably should have used a larger bowl, but I was trying to be all cute and aesthetic, and you guys know I'm not the most aesthetic person. I try though. I try. So I add a little bit of pecans while I go, and I add the butter. But like I said, you want to get a good, nice mix so that when you do sprinkle it, it'll evenly coat the tray. Because once you put it inside the oven, you want that butter to melt in almost every single corner. And that's another thing that I think is a good tip. Just kind of make sure there's like pieces of butter in each corner of the tray and alongside the tray, because I think it helps it cook a little bit better. You'll see that after I was done with this, there was like a little edge that it's not that it didn't cook, it was cooked, but like that butter would have made it a little bit more melted in, and it would have looked better, but it tasted absolutely amazing. And they wiped this tray in minutes, guys. So this is me just spreading the mixture in an aluminum pan, because hello, don't want to spend my time cleaning up after this. Once they clean it up with their spoons, all I have to do is just fold this tray and throw it inside the trash. So this is a great, some people think it's a dessert, but it's like really a side dish, and it goes great with everything. I started making this for Thanksgiving back in, I want to say 2010, maybe. 2010, 2011. And I tell you, people make me make this all the time. It will be a favorite, so beware. So this is me adding the topping onto the top of the casserole. I use pecans. You could use the nuts of your choice, but pecans really go really well with this. Just make sure you get all the corners, like I said. Everybody loves the topping. It's nice, crispy, and crunchy, and it just gives it such a nice, the pecans give it such a nice texture and crunch. Funny story, my daughter, her husband is allergic to nuts, so she actually substituted with pretzels. I will take her word for it. She said it tasted great. If you want to go ahead and try that out, then please let me know how that is for you. But she said, yeah, I did his with pretzels because he can't have the nuts. So she did too when she ended up liking it, or he ended up liking it. She said it was good. So maybe it makes sense because of the salty and sweet. But anyway, once you are done coating this, you're going to throw it in the oven at 325 degrees. And you're going to wait until that butter melts. It's like about 25 to 30 minutes, and then it'll get like golden on top. The little white areas, that needed a little bit more butter, but it was totally cooked and great. But here it is, guys. It was an absolute success, and here's your proof. Hope you enjoyed this video.
You did it again.